Hey guys, welcome to LZH Project. My name is Salman Francis and I would like to welcome you to our new video series, Linux Networking Basics. Well, I know that it's been long since my last video, but trust me, I was really busy with my work and exams. Anyway, I'm back. So in this video, we will start with very basic and move towards more advanced features of networking in Linux. So this video basically it will cover Linux networking basics and some networking concepts also, which can be widely used. So without wasting any time, let's start our first video. Well, it's the scenario is like I'll be using CentOS7 and Slackware. So I'll be using these two different distributions. And in this video I'll talk about how to check IP addresses in both Slackware and CentOS, and how to see routes in Slackware and CentOS, then how we can disable and enable the interface in both distros. We will check the ifstat command, the iftop command, how to install them. Then we will see how we can set up the temporary IP addresses on both distributions, how we can set up the permanent IP addresses, and then how we can add the temporary routes, and then we will see that how we will be able to set up the persistent or permanent routes in both Slackware and CentOS. And then we will see ARP and ping commands also. So let's start, and I'm using Slackware, so let me just use tmux. Okay, tmux is not installed, so let me install tmux. Okay, so I'm in tmux now, and if you remember from my previous video, you can use tmux to split the terminal. So to split the terminal, we will use Control B and then the command for splitting. So Control B and Shift commas. Okay, now we have splitted our terminal into two. I can SSH into our Slackware 192.168.1.222. okay, password, and you can see now I'm in my Slackzilla or Slackware box. So we have CentOS7 and Slackware. Okay, so now we will start how to check the IP addresses in CentOS and Slack. Okay, so in Slackware, to check IP address, you use the famous ifconfig command, ifconfig, and press enter, and it will basically show you the IP addresses of or interface information. But you can use pipe it to less, so it can just stop scrolling. And here we can see that each 0, it has IP address of 192.168.1.222 and netmask and all the information of our each 0, and it's also giving the ether address, which is also the MAC address. And then if you press enter, it will show you the loop back address information as well. Okay, ifconfig command has three major, or you can say main attributes. It comes with ifconfig-a, which will display all interfaces, either enabled or disabled. You can just pipe it to less. Okay, then you can use ifconfig-v option for more verbose output, and you can compare it with the above. Okay, and anyway, it will be more verbose. You can see that received packets, then TX is transmitted packets, and then you can scroll down. At the moment we are just looking for Slackware. Okay, then we have one last option, and it's called the very short option, you can say, and it's with S. So if config-s will give a very short information for, or short list for IP addresses, for interfaces. Sorry about that. Okay, now to check the same for CentOS, by default in CentOS 7 the ifconfig command has been deprecated and it's been replaced by ipaddr command. And if we would like to install the old ifconfig and route, because netstat is also not available in CentOS 7, it's been replaced by ss command. You can see with that. Okay, let me move to CentOS ss. Okay, and I have already installed netstat, but let me show you how you can do that. Basically for CentOS 7 you will use ipaddr show command to check the IP address, and you can see the interface is enp0s3 and my IP address is 192.168.1.3. By default ifconfig is not available, so in order to install ifconfig and route and netstat you need to install nettools. So what you can do is you can install it with yum by install nettools. Okay, but before installing nettools, let's see what does the nettools package have actually. So yum info nettools will reveal that the nettools package contains basic networking tools including ifconfig, netstat, route, and other. So most of them are obsolete. Anyway, if you want to install or use ifconfig, you can use or install nettools. Okay, I have already installed it, so I don't need it. But in case you need to use ifconfig, you can use nettools. So anyway, ifconfig-a, it will give the same information. You can just pipe it to less because I'm running out of space over here, so that's why I'm just piping out to less. So that's how you can see information of internet interfaces in CentOS and Slackware. Okay, now I'm going back to Slackware. Control B, arrow down. Okay, so if you want to check the IP address of eth0, you can just ifconfig eth0, and you can see that my IP address is 192.168.1.222. So if I would like to change my IP address to temporarily, I'll use ifconfig, then the eth0 or the device name, and IP address 192.168.1.229, let's say. Press enter. Okay, waiting. Okay, actually the IP address has changed because we have SSH'd into this machine. I can confirm it. Control B, ping 192.168.1.229. You can see it, we can ping it now. And let me just close this terminal. Okay, and we can just go back. Okay, now if I SSH into 192.168.1.229, which, and you can see that we will be in our Slackzilla. But tell you one thing, if I change this right now, let's say ifconfig, okay, now it's telling me the IP address 192.168.1.229, but if I change this or restart the network interface, let's say in Slackware you restart the network by typing etc rc.d rc.inet1 and restart. This is how you restart interfaces in Slackware. Okay, and it will disconnect again because we were in Slackware box and we came from CentOS. Okay, so let me just go back into CentOS. Okay, so I'm back into my CentOS7, and if I'll try to ping 192.168.1.229, we will see that it will not be able to ping anymore. Because we restarted the network interface in Slackware, so it's back, and it was not permanent actually. You cannot save the network information with ifconfig and then the device and the IP address, because it's a temporary change only. So if we just ping 222, it will ping, because this was the real interface of our Slackware. Okay, let me use tmux again. Okay, and I'll just split the screen again and SSH into our Slackzilla. Okay, if config it 0 will reveal that the IP address is back. So how we can change the IP address permanently? So there is a way, there are two ways actually in Slackware. You use the netconfig command. Okay, you use the netconfig command, press enter. It will ask you a few questions. Slackzilla, what is the host name? Okay, Slackzilla. Domain name, I'm using internal. Okay, I think I missed something. Host name. Okay, enter the domain name. Well, it's exiting. I think I need the full screen. Let me just check it again. Okay. 168.1.2. Okay, netconfig Slackzilla, enter the domain name, internal. Now it's showing me the full Anchors has based this utility, and I'll select the static IP. From here I'll choose my IP address of 192.168.1.229, let's say. Okay, press OK. Subnet mask is correct. Okay, and the gateway is 192.168.1.1. Once it's done, will you be accessing the name server? Yes, I will be using, and it's the same name server as my DNS. Oh, sorry, my gateway. Press enter, and yes, I accept the changes, and that's it. I'm back to my Slackware, and if config, at the moment it's showing me the old IP address, but what I would need to do is I need to restart the rc.t, rc.inet. Restart. Okay, once it restarts, you will see my IP address has changed. Okay, I'm back in my CentOS7 box again, and this time if I SSH into 192.168, okay, let me use tmux, Control B, SSH root into 192.168, one dot, this time I'll use 229. If config heat 0, you can see it's 192.168.1.229, and this time if I restart the interface, etc rc.d rc.inet 1 restart, it will not disconnect because this interface change is persistent. Okay, perfect. So this is how you change the IP address in Slackware, and in our next video we will see how we can change IP address in CentOS and how we can make the routes persistent. To check the routes, basically you use route-n command, and it will give you what is the gateway, what are the routes available, static routes basically available in your system. You can also use the route with netstat -r command. Okay, netstat-r also show you the route. UG is this is the up, and it's the gateway basically. So that's how we were successful in setting up IP address for Slackware box, and we have seen how we can set up the IP addresses with ifconfig, and how we can set up the IP address persistently. In our next video, we will see one more example of how to set up persistent IP address in Slackware, and then we will see how to set up IP addresses and use temporary routes and permanent routes in both CentOS and Slackware. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you soon in our next video. Goodbye.